this is Alex Hermansky, and I am here with Krystal Ruiz.
Hey everybody, I'm Krystal Ruiz.
Yes. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about her past and just what she did before coming to Cal State Long Beach. When did you start college?
I originally started college. I took a semester off, so I think I was 19 when I started college, community college.
Okay. And what did you do during your semester off?
I just got a job like any other person. I just kind of wanted some financial freedom. I thought it'd be great. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, it just kind of took me on this whole other journey, which is what you'll find out today.
So you took your semester off. What happened during that time?
So just working a lot. And I broke one of those rules where you don't shit where you eat type of thing. I actually am still doing that now. My current boyfriend, I work with him too. Anyway, so if you didn't already get the hint, listeners, I started dating a guy from my very first job. I should have saw the red flags from the get-go, honestly, because he was very persistent, and I never had encountered a guy who was so persistent before, and I thought it was kind of weird. There was points where I was at work and I'd be going down the down escalator and he'd race up it just to stand in front of me and say hi. And it's just little childish things like that I guess maybe for whatever reason my immature mind at the time was just this is charming. Mm-hmm. And I just totally bought into it. And I just ate that shit up. Anyway, so this guy, he showed interest in me, and I wasn't actually super into him at first, and we probably dated for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he told me he loved me, and I just kind of felt like I had to reciprocate at that time. So I think I waited another week, and then I was like, oh hey, I love you too. And we ended up dating, and we dated for about 1.5 years before, and it was nice because he actually helped guide me in some way, because I hadn't started school yet, so he helped me enroll and pick out classes and stuff like that, because we actually happened to go to the same school too, which was kind of nice. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of beneficial in some aspect, but we broke up for a few months, and I kind of got my footing, little independence, it's always nice, and I kind of was okay with being alone at that point. But then he reached out to me and he was like, hey, I miss you, blah blah blah, and I thought it was so pathetic, and I was gonna put him on blast and send this screenshot or whatever to my friends, but I totally messed up and I accidentally sent it to him, making fun of him with the image of his message, and sent it to him, and he was like, haha, I don't think that was for me, and that's how we ended up starting to talk again. But so we started dating again, and he was almost done with community college. I had maybe another 2 or 3 semesters left, and he was about to move to New Mexico to live with his family, because he was living in California alone. And so he was like, oh, I'm going to move back to New Mexico with my family. And his whole family was from here, but they just moved because it's a lot cheaper, obviously, to live anywhere else but here.
Yes.
And he was like, I'm going to go to the university there. It'll look really, really good for my, my resume, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, why don't you come with me? You could benefit from it too. You could live with me, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. Cool, why not? I just thought it was a really new, exciting opportunity to do something different and be on my own, kind of, whatever. And I had already gotten a new job at this time. We didn't work together anymore. I worked at a different place. I worked at a sporting goods store called REI, and I actually still work there. But they were pretty cool. They allowed me to transfer stores, so I moved from LA to New Mexico, and was able to transfer, but that's when everything started to change and things just got really hairy.
Krystal then revealed that her boyfriend was actually suffering from a very serious mental illness.
So my ex-boyfriend, in his family history, he had schizophrenia, and he had always talked about it with his dad. Some stuff had gone on with his parents and whatnot, and they were no longer together. But when I moved to New Mexico, he started to display characteristics that he would describe his dad to have, and his dad was schizophrenic. So I just thought it was really odd. We got into some really heated arguments. There was a time where we were just, this is the one that's so memorable to me because I just never imagined myself in like a situation like this. Because you watch all those Lifetime movies, you know?
Yes. Oh my God.
And
yes.
like all these women are being abused, and you're like, I'm never gonna be that woman. And then you are.
No.
So I could laugh about it because it wasn't that extreme, but it was like enough for me to be like, make phone calls and make changes, you know.
Yeah.
But we were just like sitting at breakfast, I was minding my business, just like sitting there eating, and we were like not really having like the greatest morning. Like wants to wake up and start fighting, but that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
And boiling cup of tea, like just poured, and we were arguing just at the dining table, and he was so angry that he just picked up the water and just threw it. I was just shocked because I just like, again, never thought I would be in a situation like that. Yeah. So I was just like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And that's when I knew I had to go back home. So I started making like secret phone calls to my parents.
Yeah.
And
how did your parents feel about the move? Did it affect your relationship with them at all, or?
I wouldn't say that it affected it in a negative way, but there was definitely some tension there because when I first told them that I was moving, they're a little more of the conservative type. They just like tradition. There's steps, you know, your relationship, like courting. They don't really call it that, but I mean, I'll just be corny and say it. So there's courting, and then, you know, you get engaged, you get married, and then you move in together. And we just jumped from, you know, dating off and on to like moving in. I'm pretty sure that probably looked really unstable to them, and they probably like were thinking like, you're crazy to do this, you know. But my dad did mention to me, like, you know, if you're gonna go, don't expect to have a place to come back to if things go wrong. So that was a little nerve-wracking. So when I actually was there and I did need help, it took a lot of courage.
Despite her toxic relationship, Krystal struggled internally whether to put in her 2 weeks or not.
Like, I literally went to work. I used to do like stocking shifts at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I used to go to work, and I used to talk myself into putting my 2 weeks in. And I actually did that. I put my 2 weeks in, and then I revoked it. I was like, oh, I'm unsure, you know, like, oh. So I went and told my manager, like, there's just like so much stuff going on, and like I feel like I need to get out of here, blah, 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 blah. And I just need to leave. And then I, you know, my boyfriend and I like talked, and I was like, oh, things are going to get better, you know. And then like a few days later, I was like, hey, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't want to put my 2 weeks in. You know, everything's fine. And then like another week later went by, and I had to put my notice in again. And like I was making phone calls to my parents, and yeah, I just had to move back, which was bittersweet because it was a long drive. That's the bitter part. It was a 12-hour drive by myself. So it's just, it was an interesting experience, but definitely something I don't regret, but I'm not necessarily proud of the decision I made to go. But now it's like, I know, you know, don't move in with somebody, you know, you're not certain about. He's like, we should just run away. And I was just not into that, and kind of reminded me of like the beginning of our relationship when he was very like, he was like pestering me in a way to date, but now it was like he was pestering me into like some legal action, like, let's sign the contract, you know, let's be in love together. So I actually moved to avoid the marriage shock. Because I thought like, oh, you know, maybe I'll just move in, like we'll test it out and see how it goes. And I'm glad I did that, because imagine if I just got married or something, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would have been awful. Do you think there was a silver lining, or did you, was there any good that came out of it? Did you learn anything?
Definitely some good came out of it. Moving away taught me how to really be alone in a place, because I didn't have any other connections besides like my boyfriend at the time and his family. So it taught me to like kind of come out of my shell a bit, like, you know, talk to people. And like now I'm a little more open to talking to people. And it also taught me that, you know, there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Even though you could be in like a really bad situation, like you can take life by the horns and like you could change it. You know, I feel like there's a lot of people who have trouble doing that, like just knowing like there's a problem here and I need to fix it. Well, I was lucky enough to realize that there was a problem in my life, and I was able to fix it. And I'm thankful for like some of the people that were there for me during that time, because if I didn't have like certain people to talk to, like I built friendships from that bad experience. And I think that was like a lot of the good stuff that came from that experience, along with, you know, you gaining mental strength and whatnot. So definitely a lot of perks.
That's awesome. So even though it was like kind of tough, it sounds like you still experienced a lot of personal growth, and it was like overall it wasn't a terrible time. Like, you still learned a lot, and there was some good that came out of it. So that's good. And I just wanted to say thank you for being on my show. It was so lovely talking to you.
Thanks for having me. I had a good time, talking about my shitty relationship.
We all have those. All right, well, we'll be here next week. Signing off.